Okay guys, welcome to a tutorial on how to set up Perfect World on Ubuntu 15.04. I should probably mention at the beginning of this video that there are some bugs in 15.4 related to when you're running a Windows program. More specifically, when you are running Perfect World, and you will see these and I'll show them at the end of the tutorial after I've set it up and got into the game. But the first thing you're going to need to do is open up your browser and go to the link. It will be provided in the description. It's very simple. Make sure you do not download the standard Arc installer, because you need to download the specific one or it won't work. This Arc downloader is from Arc Games, so it is the proper Perfect World, it's just slightly different. Anyway, so you download the file, save the file. Very simple. You'll find the file inside your downloads folder unless you chose to download it to another folder. The next thing you're going to have to do is open up Ubuntu Software Center. Type in Wine and install Wine Windows Program Loader. Type in your password, authenticate, and PlayOnLinux. You won't have to authenticate it the second time. Should say 2 up here and give you your progress. Okay, once this is done, I'll show you how to complete the setup, but basically this is more or less all you need to install from the Ubuntu side. You've pretty much downloaded everything you need to download now. This is a fairly simple tutorial and it does work. I haven't tried it with other versions of Ubuntu, but on 15.4 it pretty much works all the time. Okay, so now you've got Wine installed and PlayOnLinux. The next thing you're going to need to do is go to the PlayOnLinux icon, which you just installed. This is PlayOnLinux. It may look slightly different because I've customized my theme slightly. The first thing inside here is go to Tools, Manage Wine Versions. Now, inside this window you will not have any wine versions. I do, obviously, since I've got it. The first thing you're going to want to do is locate version 1.7.47 and it will be on this side of the screen. Once you find it, click this arrow here and it will go across to here. It will whir and do its thing. But that's all you need to do. Make sure the tabs up here, you're on this one, the times 86, because Wine won't, PWI will not run on 64-bit system. Okay, now that's installed, you can quite literally now go to actually installing Arc. You're going to want to click on the install and click install a non-listed program in the bottom left hand corner of the new window. This is the manual installation and I'm going to walk you through it step by step. It's very simple. It's next. Make sure you go up here and click install a program in a new virtual drive. Next. Then you're going to want to type in the name of what you want to call the virtual drive. So since we're installing PWI, I'm going to call it PWI. You can name it whatever you want. Click next. Now this is very important. This is stuff that's going to happen during and before the actual installation, so we're going to want to click these two. First, check use another version of Wine and check configure Wine. Configure Wine allows you to make some customizations about the system before it actually installs Arc, and use another version of Wine. I only check this because I'm actually running multiple versions of Wine, so I want to make sure it uses the right one rather than the system default. The one we want to use is 1.7.47. Click next. Install 32-bit Windows installation. This is very, very important. Make sure you click 32-bit. Next, the drive is going to be created. Once the drive is created and done all this stuff, we can move on to actually installing Arc, and it will present us with a way to do this. This is the application we just downloaded earlier, but for the time being, the setup has opened the configure wine window, which is what we checked earlier, and right now it says Windows version XP. We want to change that to Windows 7, and then go across to the tab Graphics and click Automatically Capture the Mouse in Full Screen Windows. Check that and click Apply, then click OK. Now, I've moved this from the Downloads folder to the actual desktop. Drag and drop, quite easy. This is what we just downloaded earlier in the browser. What we want to do is go to Browse, and we want to go to Desktop, and of course what we want to do is go to the Perfect World, the Arc Install Perfect World. We've just gone to the Arc Install Perfect World. As you can see, it's there. Now the next step is to click Next. Now it's going to actually open up a couple of windows like this. This is the actual Arc install. It's exactly the same as if you're installing it on Windows. The only difference is now it's on Linux. So as you can see, Arc, it will look slightly different than a standard Arc installer. As you notice, you've got the Arc thing here, and you've got the PWI logo here, and the picture on the side. You just go through and accept it. Select your folder, accept, install. It's going to install. This may take a while depending on the speed of your computer. Now there's a couple of options here. You can obviously leave Arc, launch Arc. That's actually very important. Let it launch Arc automatically now, because we need it to do that. But turn off automatically launch Arc when Windows starts up. For obvious reasons, we're not running Windows. And share computer and system data with us, which helps us improve our product and services. That's not really going to apply to us. I may explain that later on in the video, but just uncheck it. Now it's going to update the actual Arc. This also could take a while. It's very dependent on the speed of your computer. It may get stuck, it may lag, just leave it. It will do its thing if you have followed the instructions as to what I've said up until this point. Next thing to do is to log in. I recommend not using Facebook sign in, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's very temperamental. Using normal login is perfectly fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Click sign me in automatically if that's what you want to do. Sign in. Obviously, with things like Arc, you may get presented with a 8 messages unread. You may get presented with a Arc Defender. Just go to your email, get the code, and do that stuff. I can't help you around that, but and it's not going to show on my computer because, for obvious reasons, I've already done this. Anyway, the next thing, you're going to notice that PWI Eclipse, the installer, automatically appears. You actually want to cancel that. It's very important. Also cancel search for games, because you just don't need it. Come out of this, and what you've got here is Arc that's installed. The next thing you want to do is go up to here and go down to exit. Now we're going back onto PlayOnLinux here. This is just finishing up its installation so it can integrate it with the current system. Now that it's showed this is going to create a link on your desktop and in the PlayOnLinux window over here. So you go down to arc.exe, click next. You can choose the name for the shortcut. We're going to leave it as Arc. Next. Now click I don't want to make another shortcut, because you don't need another one. Click next, and there it is, Arc. You'll also find that a link has been automatically made on your desktop. Next thing you can do, you can actually close PlayOnLinux if you want, but there's a couple of changes we need to make. So first thing you can do is select Arc with your mouse and click Configure. Next you're going to go across to Display and click where it says GLSL Support. Click it down arrow and click Enabled. Direct Draw Renderer, we're going to want to change that to OpenGL. And video memory size, this is different depending on your graphics card. If you've got half a gig, you click 512, it's measured in megabytes, so it's easy to do. So for me, I'm going to do 2048, which is 2 gigs. By the way, if you find your PWI running slow, you can turn off GLSL support and direct draw renderer. These are just settings I prefer, and I recommend them to anyone. The next thing you're going to want to do is go to the tab Wine and click Windows Reboot. You'll get a window that loads and it disappears. You can just close this, and you can also close this if you want. Yes. Now you can actually use your icon on your desktop. Also, if you go into here, you can type in Arc and you will find Arc Repair, Arc Uninstall, Arc. It's all there and can be launched from there, and it's all integrated into your system perfectly fine. You don't need to run any extra software. You can literally click the icon on your desktop or in your menu. There will be a warning come up that says there's been an error. As long as these windows keep launching, which may take a while the first time, just click next on the error and leave it. It's not important. Well, the next step of this is to actually install Perfect World, which once again you simply just click install, create desktop, start and shortcut menu items. Very simple, click next. It's going to start downloading. This could take a while. This is all dependent on the speed of your internet connection and the speed of your computer and your internal network. But we're not going to get into stuff like that right now. It's simply just wait for it to finish downloading. Once again, as with the Arc updates, you may find that this might slow down. It might just be really slow. It might stop, pause or lag. Just leave it and it will do its own thing. And it's the same with the installation. The installation should be fine. Another thing is, you're going to find if you look at other tutorials, they're going to be telling you to install IE on Wine Internet Explorer 8. Now, you don't actually need to install that anymore because of an update inside Arc. You really do not need to install that. Trying to install extra plugins is more likely to actually break Arc and break the version of Wine. You'll just have to uninstall it, reinstall it. It's a lot of aggro. You don't actually need to install any extra software. Any software that is needed has automatically been installed while we were doing this. So I'll end this video for now and I'll be right back when it's almost finished installing. Okay, I am back. Basically, it does take a while. First it downloads and then it installs. Right now it's at 97%. It's almost done right there. There are a few things I should say. The Arc installer, as far as I know, it will install other games like Blacklight and I don't know, whatever you want to play that Arc has, but I should warn you, there is no guarantee it's going to work. This is just for Perfect World, and also the rest of the installation is also just for Perfect World. I may release another video showing you how to install games like Dishonored and I don't know, COD, whatever you want basically, but this installation right here is only meant for Perfect World. Anyway, you have now installed Perfect World, so the next step is to open it. Once again, with the update it may take a while, and you're also going to notice that when it actually opens the launcher, like here, you have the white thing on the screen which will be the slider, and then eventually the actual launcher will load and then it'll be over this and you'll just see it when it happens, but there we go. It will also lag a little bit behind. This is dependent on the speed of your computer. It takes a little while to load up, and also the verifying client thing could take a while, and you will notice there are some bugs, like inside here the text is slightly cut off. Just click auto, select your patch, make sure not to download using P2SP. You can do patch 1, patch 2, whatever you like. Now it's just going to update the actual game files. The update actually works, the slider works, it's all there. The issue you may find is that the launcher is very volatile. You can break it very easy. It's not a permanent break, but it will crash. Expect it to crash, don't play around with it, you'll be fine. You're also going to notice you may have to click the start button several times. Like right now the update is complete, so I'm going to go into graphics. This window also, if you play around with it too much, it's going to crash. It's just a fact. I'm going to turn down the graphics for the sake of this tutorial. Very heavy video recorder, so we're going to leave that like that. and we're going to confirm this at 900 by thing. Windowed, I like windowed, so I'm going to go windowed. That worked. Also, if you're doing it on a square screen or on a secondary screen and you've got that as your primary on Linux, you may find it won't let you raise the quality above your actual thing, but you may find it maybe 200-300 pixels below. That's all it'll allow you. Anyway, assuming you haven't crashed it and had to restart it, if you click start on the launcher, might have to several times, you will get, after a certain amount of time, because it takes a while, perfect world eclipse. Another thing I should mention, do not stretch this window. You can stretch it in Linux, but you are most likely going to break it. What will happen is, even if it doesn't crash, it will be buggy. You won't be able to click buttons properly and so on. So set the size you want and leave it. Okay, I am hoping this isn't recording a full sound, because next you're going to want to select your thing and go to here. You notice even though I've got the graphics set on low, it's pretty good quality. The next bug you are going to find is the black face bug. This black face bug, not a problem. It doesn't work on every character. Not every character has black faces, you can see, but a lot of characters who have customized faces, you're going to find they will have black faces, as you can see. Life side guy right here, black face, customized face, no customization. You can see how it all works. Anyway, so for this one I'm going to go into one of my main characters and we're going to have a look at this. As for the mouse, there's no actual lagging. I found it runs pretty well, and it should. It's a pretty powerful system. If you find lagging, you may need to tune down your graphics based on the system. Okay, here we go. The third and final problem with this is most of your icons are going to be question marks. If you go into your bag, most of your items are going to be question marks. If you hover over them, you can see them. Yeah, it will give you the tooltips and you can find them out. If you click them, they will work. I haven't actually found a viable solution for this yet. I've tried several, but a lot of the tutorials are terrible for this. So if I find one, I'll upload an update of this video, or I will just upload a second part or part 2 or whatever. But everything actually works. There's just a couple of glitches that have got to be worked out. You can actually do pretty much everything you'd want to do in this game. Everything works. There are no lags at all. Even teleportation is fine. Now, aside from the bugs that obviously don't stretch the screen, the launcher is volatile, be careful. The actual bugs is the black face. Some other people may have black face, most of them you can see. And of course the icons. Aside from that, there is one more bug. You can't use the Meridian system. Now, I have heard of fixes for this online. I've actually heard of fixes for the blackface and the icons, but like with a lot of tutorials that tell you how to install this and get this working, you may find that they don't work. That's what I found so far. Anyway, just another note, aside from everything actually running okay, I should probably mention that the audio is a bit terrible. It's one of those things you're probably going to want to turn off the music. The rest of the audio effects when you hit mobs, probably find that absolutely fine. But you don't want your music audio running all the time in the background. It's a bit much. Anyway, so that's pretty much the end of this tutorial. You can access this from your desktop. You can do pretty much everything you can do in this. There's a couple of glitches. I didn't say this is the complete version. I did say at the beginning there are bugs. If you have a solution to these bugs and want to let me know, please post a comment or upload a reply to this or whatever. Well, anyway, that's the end of this. Catch you later. Hope it works for you.